Our voices.
Our stories.
Our community.
My name is Emily and this is my friend Laura, and we came to Surf Able today to go surfing, and it's our second year coming. What is surfing like? It's like that.
How can someone describe the thrill of being tossed around by waves in the ocean? It's like trying to describe what chocolate tastes like to someone who has no taste buds. Surfing is not for everyone, but can it be for anyone?
Ready for this? Oh yeah.
For 4 years, Martinique Beach, Nova Scotia, 1 hour away from Halifax, has become home to an unusual event. An event where athletic surfers get an opportunity to offer surfing to people with mobility issues. Every person surfs differently. Abilities vary from person to person, but catching a wave depends on luck, because you're never sure what kind of wave is coming next. One thing these surfers demonstrate is an intense determination to navigate the waves as much as they can. It's no different from anyone who surfs. They must stay vigilant to avoid losing their balance.
My name is April Hubbard, and I've been a wheelchair user for 17 years. I've been involved with Life Rolls On for 2 years. Before I ended up in the chair, I had no interest in ever trying surfing, and I had no interest in really trying most sports. I led a pretty sedentary lifestyle. I was never good at gym class and never had an interest in any of that. It takes a little bit of practice to feel the waves and know how the board is going to respond, how your body is going to respond when it comes up behind you and pushes you along. Once you get used to that feeling, it's like riding a bicycle, I guess. You get used to leaning one way or another and feeling the motion of the wave and going with that rather than fighting against it.
Got a little squirrely in the middle there.
Yeah.
My name's Alex Chandler. I'm from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I work professionally with the IWK in Halifax as a recreation therapist and work with teenagers with addictions and mental health. I'm here today with the Life Rolls On event as a volunteer, but also a volunteer lead. I did a little speech with all the volunteers off the get-go, and I referenced that this is a community event.
A whole whack of volunteers that are going to help with.
And I'm a surfer, have been and always will be, and this is a surfing event. So it brings the surf community together, it brings healthcare together, it brings participants together, it brings volunteers together, and it brings families together to do something that they don't get a chance to do. It is a magical day. It is a sense of community. There's a sense of generosity. There's a sense of volunteerism. There's a sense of just massive amounts of support and love. So my job here is to kind of rally all the troops, educate people on what our role is throughout the day, talk about safety, talk about energy within the event, keeping everything, the stoke really high.
It's a day of emotion. It's a day of generosity. It's a day of community. People come and they register. We are the water team. Behind the scenes, there's a whole whack of volunteers helping participants, surfers get into their wetsuits.
And from that process, they would transfer down onto the beach area. So that's coming through the beautiful grassy dunes over the boardwalk, down onto the beach.
We're going to see different colored flags along the beach. Just go to the flag that your jersey matches. That's where we're going to be assigned.
The water captain would meet the beach captain, and we'd introduce to the surfer. We just identify the best way to get them onto the board and then onto the water. So that could be any variety of different transfers out of a wheelchair or any assistive devices that we may need to put under the body just to make people feel stable and comfortable on the board. From that point, we would transition off the beach and into the water.
And I always think about the surfers in charge, not us. And it's not about driving and firing somebody onto the wave. They're here to surf, not here to be pushed around. Timing the wave, a nice little gentle push, and we all know as surfers how good that feels.
It's kind of like a bowling alley where we have 2 rows of people on either side. Deep water volunteers are often really experienced surfers, so they know how to read the ocean and how to interpret waves and how to pick the proper wave and get the person balanced, and we call it true, on the board. So the rider's going to be able to glide on the water safely. And when the right wave comes through, everyone gets excited, and a nice little gentle push from the deep water volunteer, and any kind of redirection they may require to keep them heading towards the beach and safe. Our volunteers along the way can just really, a gentle little hand can adjust the board, and they would come in to land in the shallow water on the beach, and the crew there would turn the board around, and we rip them right out again and do it all over again.
When there is a wipeout, just about getting to people quickly. Some people take control of the board just to manage that, and some people are going to go for the participant.
When the volunteers pick up their surfers from out of the water, they make sure they're okay. And then the team members smile at each other, creating a kind of wonderful moment. A moment of euphoria. Life Rolls On is a way to make that happen again and again.
The person beside you, turn and say, "You're awesome, man." Give them a hug, and let's get going.
Our community will return after the break.
We now return to our community.
I had two highlights today. The first was our guest speakers right off the top.
We will forever be grateful.
Who had a son participate in this event last year. And it makes me emotional because that guy is not here to surf this year. So that's why this event is important.
Life Rolls On is at its core a joy-filled event, but volunteers are at the same time sensitive to the challenges and potential hazards of those participants they serve. Before the surfing begins, volunteers gathered for a presentation by Surfable, the Nova Scotian organization running it, starting with President Luc Godin.
I'm going to bring up our guest speaker now. You all probably, or may have noticed anyway, there's all kinds of logos on your pinnies. There's also an MR on your shoulders. That's for Mitchell Richard. He was a past participant. Unfortunately, he passed away last year, and his parents are just going to say a few words now. Good morning, everyone. Our son Mitchell surfed during this event last year, and without a doubt, if he was still with us, he would have been one of the first to register for this year. It wasn't a very summery event last year either, weather-wise, but the positivity, the warmth, generously given by you, spectacular volunteers, certainly made that day one of the brightest in Mitchell's last summer. Soak it all in, participants, and have a fantastic day. Thank you. So we're good to start. Go surfing.
April Hubbard credits adaptive surfing and sailing for teaching her to recognize the strength she carries in her body, strengths that are often invisible to the outside world.
Somebody that I had known through other accessible sporting events in Halifax was introducing me to somebody, and they introduced me as, "Oh, this is April, she's an amazing athlete." I hadn't really thought about all the things I had accomplished. But having lost some of the ability in my body, I really found a lot of strength in what I could still do, and found a closer connection to my body and its abilities, and was really able to appreciate that more. And I do see myself as an athlete now. It is a pretty amazing feeling to pull yourself onto the board. And there's all this anticipation coming, especially in my second year, because I knew what I was looking forward to and I knew what was about to happen. And you just get to watch them move the chair away, and it's not part of you anymore, because in our day-to-day life, the chair is so much a part of us. It did make a big difference when they adjusted me on the board.
We're gonna try there, and they adjust.
I didn't know why it wasn't working, and
Just because we don't want to curl the board forward.
that's why it's great to have the experts there helping you, because they knew exactly where I needed to be. It's really fun going back when they're sending you back out, because that's when the waves really come at you full force. And sometimes this year, especially since I was the first one out early in the morning, the waves were really cold. So it woke me up really quickly, better than any cup of coffee I've ever had. all the limitations are removed and you can really just float and enjoy that freedom, because for so many of us, we're, at least from society standards, seen as being tied down and limited day to day. And you do constantly come across these barriers of, I can't do this, or I can't enter this building, or I don't have access to so many things that everybody else in society gets to take for granted.
It's hard to measure the experience, but you feel it. And I've always said every time I go into the ocean, I come out a happier, better person. And there's something that happens in the transaction, and I can't calculate it, but I actually work within mental health. And these types of experiences that challenge us, that push us, that bring out adrenaline and excitement, it just does some cool things in our brain and it makes us feel better. And you can get scientific around this, around neurotransmitters and dopamine and serotonin, but there is something mystical that happens there that keeps you going back again and again. Almost being back to being a kid and this basic element of play. And being an adult with all the responsibilities and duties that come along with that, to be able to rewind back to the feeling of being a kid, that's something that I think is going to keep me going and keep me healthy. The ocean kind of is my church, and there is such a sense of wellness and wholeness that I get from the ocean, and to be able to share that, it's the best surfing event that happens in Canada, without question.
I think Life Rolls On is really important because it gives a chance for people with mobility issues to really realize their potential and realize all the things that they can do and be a part of the community again. It's pretty amazing once a year to get to be the majority in a situation where for so many days of the year, we're in our daily environment, we're the only ones as wheelchair users or the only ones with limitations. There is an amazing feeling that you get when you're out there in the water, that you get to forget all the limitations and just really feel like yourself.
Jesse Billauer created Life Rolls On in the USA to bring surfing to people who couldn't even dream of surfing, people with serious physical challenges like him. Without Jesse Billauer, this event never would have happened.
Anyways, my name is Jesse. I started Life Rolls On 2001. All right. Thank you. For those that don't know, I'm Jesse. I broke my neck surfing a month before turning professional, and unfortunately that happened and something good came out of it, and that's what we're doing here today with Life Rolls On and the They Will Surf Again program. It all started off super small, a couple people, and now we do events in 12 different cities around the country, and this definitely is one of the biggest ones for sure. 600 people, La Jolla Shores. Don't be afraid to try new things in life. Sometimes the most uncomfortable places in the world is where you get comfortable. So get out of your chairs, get out of your houses, and start living.
Jesse Billauer is a visionary who made his disability into an extraordinary asset that inspires people. His contagious exuberance spread to Canada, where his system of 7 teams was developed with its own Nova Scotian flair. As president of Surfable, Luc Godin oversees the event.
We have 60 surfers registered, and we've got probably 170 to 180 volunteers. We're using Jesse for all the support he can give. He's the one who came up with the event, and for us, you know, he gives us the framework of how to do it safely, how to organize it. He's been so generous with his time and all of this equipment that you see around you today that he's donated. I mean, we couldn't do it without him.
Paula Green brought Life Rolls On to Nova Scotia to her and her husband's surfing community. The first event was small but grew quickly the second year and keeps growing.
I am Amy Baker, and I am one of the 5 coordinators of Surf Able Life Rolls On. Paula was my coworker. We worked together at the hospital, and she had been working for a long time. She was always a fan of Jesse's, and we work with people that have spinal cord injuries just like Jesse.
My sister's an occupational therapist, so my sister got to know Paula, and I got to know Paula through my sister, and somehow I'm sitting in this chair now a few years later. It just kind of happened.
At that point, we didn't have a committee or anything. It was really just her, and it was a lot of work, so she asked if I would help her, and I said sure.
Paula's an occupational therapist, And so she was really interested in showing her clients these videos of Jesse surfing. And that sort of led to her just reaching out and asking if maybe Jesse would want to do an event here, and he obviously said yes right away. And ever since then, we've been having this event as a yearly occasion. It's funny having our talk with sponsors and insurance companies, things like that, and saying we really do want to take people surfing. They really are in wheelchairs. And once you get through that and show them a video, everyone kind of lights up, and it's that realization that yes, this absolutely can be done.
Life Rolls On is really important because it gives a chance for people with mobility issues to realize all the things that they can do and be a part of the community again. It's pretty amazing once a year to get to be the majority, where for so many days of the year, we're the only ones as wheelchair users or the only ones with limitations. You get to forget all the limitations and just really feel like yourself.
We've been able to go out and go surfing together, and they let me get up on the board with Laura both years, so I get to steady us both and surf the waves and see the lineup of people just catching Laura and supporting both of us and making sure that we both feel like just so powerful and so capable, and I get to hold her and be held by all these people, and it's unbelievable.
Our community will return after the break.
We now return to our community.
Laura Osborne and Emily Martinello are quite probably the biggest fans of Life Rolls On in Canada.
Last year when we came, I called Laura's mom and said, you have to come just to see the people. Like, the surfing is fantastic, and it's like nothing else I've ever experienced to be on that board. But seeing 100 people who just want to make dreams come true, it goes beyond what surfing is. It's what brings us back here, is knowing that we'll get to see humanity at its best. And 100 people who have either nothing to do with surfing or nothing to do with disabilities, and they are going to make today the best possible day and have everything Laura needs happen.
It's a day that opens people's eyes to what we need to do to make everything more accessible in Nova Scotia. I absolutely love the event. I look forward to it all year. It's so much fun to put on, and it's worth every minute of the organization to get here. I think that's pretty amazing. We have to reshape the beach every year, and the beach changes every year. This year was really tough. It was just really rocky from all the storms we had. The plywood is a tough one, and the people that come out the night before and do it, they're kind of the heroes, especially with the bugs like they were last night.
We actually tried to get down to watch our friend surf so we could cheer her on, and we can't get down to the water to even cheer her on. We can get down as far as the plywood goes. Beaches are just so not accessible for us without adaptations, without sidewalks and boardwalks and plywood, without beach wheelchairs, without every possible accommodation.
And Bucky is kind of like our Picasso. He's got the vision.
Two of those hero volunteers who set up on the night before are Ben Hawkins and Buck Crow.
Okay, so we got another sheet. I'll be right back. Oh, yeah, I got one right here, look. This is some good old Douglas fir plywood from BC. The best you can get. Starting to set our first course for this is a roadway. We're gonna make it 8 feet across. And so we're setting our first course down. What we do is we use the flat rocks to tie the corners all together so the sheets don't deviate and move around, so when the wheelchairs go on there, it keeps everything pretty together. Look at that one. I've seen a lot of things here actually. Like we had the Syrian refugees the last 2 years have come to the event. They'll probably be here tomorrow. That's pretty big eye opener, you know. Like it's pretty nice to see people that aren't as fortunate as we are to be able to have a program like this. What's the dust?
My name is Ahmed.
Did you fall off it?
Yeah. Very happy with the water. Wave is coming. Fall and down and let up and down and up and down. Good.
What country you come from?
Syria. Every year I'm coming here. That time.
We've partnered with iSands here in Nova Scotia, and they've been a huge part of this for quite a few years.
The immigrants are continuously very appreciative, very thankful, very excited. They tend to be, I find that the team that is the immigrants is always very, very, very excited.
Yes, so excited. Good. I am excited. many years ago. Canada changed me life. Canada have good life for me, and here in Canada, in Halifax. And thank you, Justin Trudeau, thank you for Canadian people. Thank you.
Getting to the beach for us is a massive, massive ordeal. But when we come here, they've got it all set up for us, and they've got the beach wheelchairs. And not only that, but they have the people who are willing to just make it possible. Like, it doesn't matter that the beach is inaccessible, because the people make it totally accessible for whatever we need.
Wheelchairs can't wheel on sand. Whether it's power chair, you can't go in sand because they won't move, they'll just sink. But you also get sand in your gears and in your motors. Manual chairs also, they just sink in the sand, and you can't get through sand in a chair. There is 50 people or so in wheelchairs, and they need to be able to get right down on the beach and access it. We don't want them all way up there. That's not the beach experience, to sit at the top of the beach. They can do that anytime. So we basically make a walkway. That's 2 sheets. And then what we do is we make little platforms for people to kind of sit on, and we'll put tents over a couple of them and stuff like that. And when the participants register, they give all their pertinent medical information. I look at that stuff, and then from the volunteers that register, we also ask them if they have any medical experience. And so we have physios, occupational therapists, rec therapists, nurses, all kinds of different people that work within the healthcare system. And so when I make the teams, there's 7 teams, so I make sure that each team has an adequate amount of medical professionals on it. And then I also pick the participant teams. People that have spinal cord injuries are kind of on one team. A lot of the amputees kind of are on one team. And so I just kind of work all that out.
Okay, great. Awesome, thanks. And do I go get a wetsuit?
I'll grab one for you.
Okay, thanks.
Don't worry about this.
A lot of the times you show up here and you don't know anybody on your team. And so you're with 20 or 30 new people that you haven't met before, and you're now a collaborative team, and you're working together and create kind of a team bond, even though you maybe have just met these people. It's like, I don't know of a lot of places that you go and get put with 20 strangers and have to connect with these people in that way. Where I work with people that have spinal cord injuries, some of the people are past patients of mine, and so it's always exciting to see them down the road, because I know them as people that were inpatients in the hospital for a longer period of time, and then to see them come out here and to see how far they've come since they were newly paralyzed.
Go away. We want a big one, right? Yeah, we want the huge one. We want the big dogs.
Sure, it's always fun for me to see that.
The faces of these surfers somehow show something beyond happiness. It's been described as the healing energy of the salt water and waves and wind on the ocean. But as they catch a wave, the surfers and volunteers share their ecstatic emotions. Producer, writer, and director Robert W. Zimmerman. Camera and sound operators Robert W. Zimmerman, Edward Boyce, Cohen King, Marvin Moore. Editors Robert W. Zimmerman, Manuel Grados Andrade. Integrated Describe Video Specialist Simone Cupid. Narrator Jim Van Horn. Senior Producer Jennifer Johnson. Production Supervisor Janice Civitelli. Director Production Karen I. Director Programming Brian Perdue. Vice President Programming and Production John Melville. President and CEO David Arrington. Copyright 2018 Accessible Media Inc.